Hello, peace seekers. This is Soneakqua White popping in to give you a piece of my mind that will hopefully give you some peace of mind. Today, I want to do a little bit of a teaching because I think it's going to be a teaching series because what I really want to do is show you how I work with my coaching clients. Now, let me explain. I have two different practices. In one practice, I am a therapist because I am a licensed therapist. So I only do therapy with clients in my therapy practice. In my coaching practice, which is totally separate, I work with a particular and specific group of individuals. The main two individuals or types or groups of people that I work with are creative artists and ministers of the gospel. And I call both of these groups influencers because if you think about it in our culture, these are your influencers. The creative artists would be your musicians, your piano players, your actors, your stylists, some of them will actually be your social media influencers as well, even though that could be a different group, but a lot of creative artists also fall into the social media influencer category as well. Your ministers of the gospel, you may not necessarily think of them as influencers in pop culture terms, but in the world, they actually are influencers or should be. So those are my top two groups, although there's a sprinkle of different people. Again, I mentioned social media influencers as well as on occasion athletes that I'll get coming through my coaching practice. And the difference between my coaching practice and my therapy practice is this. Therapy has a diagnosis attached to it, and you're typically trying to bring someone from their past trauma, past hurt, past experiences into a healthy current state of mind. With coaching, you're not dealing with diagnoses. Even though the person may have one, that is not my work when I am coaching. The person is in the process where they are mentally stable and they are trying to springboard from where they are currently into their future endeavors. And so with coaching, we don't dibble and dabble a lot in the past. You may have to tiptoe back there sometimes for some reasons, but that is not the primary focus. The primary focus in my coaching practice is to take you from where you are now and springboard you into the future and your next steps and the things that you're trying to get into. And specifically, I work with people of faith. So if you are not a person of faith, you're not a follower of Christ, you are not a believer, my coaching practice would not likely be something that you would partake in. But for those of you who find yourself in a space of faith, meaning you are a follower of Christ, you are a believer, you believe in God and you believe in his promises, these are the folks that I work with who are also creative artists, ministers of the gospel, influencers in those lanes. Okay? And so, an interesting thing about ministers of the gospel is I would say that many of them, not all, but many of them, or many of you, have what I would call a double gift or a double calling or a double influence. Because many of the ministers of the gospel that I work with also fall into the category of creative artists. They write music, they play music, they sing. The way they present the word is also very creative. They have props and skits and different things that are entertaining while presenting the word of God. So all creative artists, of course, are not ministers of the gospel, but they are carriers of the word in the sense of, or at least those that I work with. And so this is what I kind of want to introduce you to as far as the work that I do of coaching the called. So when I say called, What I am talking about is you have a calling on your life. You know it. You may or may not be walking in it as of yet, but you know that there is a calling on your life. And that once you accept the calling on your life, you have chosen to walk in it, thus making you chosen. And these are the individuals that I work with. So when I talk about coaching the called, I am talking about coaching these folks that have a calling on their lives, specifically in the areas of creative arts and ministry. So 4 things that I work with these groups on, 4 phases of coaching the called, are recognizing and walking in your calling just in general. Like, are you walking in your calling on a regular and consistent basis? Are you touching people with your gifts? Are you using your God-given gifts to manifest in the world for the people that God has assigned to you? And that is one thing that I love to help cultivate with my clients that I coach. The second phase would be ensuring that you are walking in that calling for Christ. That whenever you are utilizing that gift, you are making it known, and not necessarily in a brazen, over the top, offensive, obnoxious type of way, but that when people see your gift in operation, they know that that is from God, even if they don't believe, even if they're not followers of Christ. They know that there is something about what you are doing and how you are doing it, how you are presenting yourself, showing up in the world, that there is something about you, and they're drawn to it. Even if they don't know exactly what it is, you are drawing people to you by using that gift. And not necessarily to you. Yes, they can see you. You're the physical person or the physical representation. But what they're being drawn to is God, the Christ in you. Okay. The third phase that I work with my clients on is building the mental strength necessary for the calling, because it's work, and this world is dark. The calling is light, and so there is war a lot of times. So building the mental strength to walk in your calling and to operate both on and off your platform with excellence. And now that is important to me, because we're seeing people with a gift and a calling on their lives. However, they are not walking in that calling with excellence. And when I say excellence, what I mean is untarnished, untainted. Like, people can say about you nothing negative. I mean, there's always going to be negative people who have something to say, because not everybody is going to like you. But there should not be a tarnish or a taint on your gift if you are walking in excellence. People shouldn't be able to say, yeah, you have a beautiful gift, but you're also a bully. They shouldn't have a but when it comes to your calling. They shouldn't be able to say you have a beautiful voice and a nasty spirit. Okay, so that is what I mean by building the mental strength to operate both on and off your platform with excellence. They shouldn't see the gift in operation on your platform and then a totally different person when you're off the platform. When I see you in the grocery store, I should see pretty much the same person that I see when the lights are on you, when you're on your platform, when you're on stage. Okay, you might not look the same. You might not be all made up and dressed up or whatever it is in your performance or whatever it is that you do on your platform. You may not look like that, but I shouldn't see a totally different person. Again, I shouldn't see a representative of God only on your platform. I should see that representative throughout your life. And that's not to say we're not human, that we don't make mistakes, but I shouldn't see a completely different person when you're off your platform as opposed to on. Okay? But that takes mental strength. That takes intentionality of ensuring that you are walking in your calling whenever you present yourself to the world, in any way that you present yourself to the world. Okay? And that final stage, that fourth phase that I work with my clients on, is being able to operate in all of the first three simultaneously, meaning walking in your calling, walking in your calling for Christ, walking in your calling for Christ with the mental strength that you need to operate in it both on and off your platform, as well as number 4, being able to turn around and coach and mentor someone who is coming up the ranks behind you. They have a similar gift to yours, but they are in the place that you were years ago, before you got to where you are now, before you reached this spot in your platform or whatever influence you have now. They are behind you in that sense, not necessarily that their gift is subpar to yours. They've just not gotten to the influence or the level where you are. So you have to be able to turn around and use everything that you have and that you've learned along the way to coach someone else, because you always want a successor. One day your assignment may shift, not the gift. You still have the same gift, but the assignment, maybe your platform shifts or changes direction. So you want someone that you know and believe in and know that you have taught well to take your place where you were, so that you can move forward, so that you don't have to hold on to anything that God is not telling you to hold on to. You need to have someone who's coming up the ranks behind you, who you know will be strong in those 4 stages. Okay, these are the clients that I work with, and this is how I work with these clients. I hope this video is helpful for you. If it is, give it a thumbs up. Remember to subscribe to my channel, because I'm going to be doing a series of teachings or coachings on how I work with my clients. If you'd like to leave a comment, I'd love to hear from you. If you're interested in this material, I will link it in the description box so you can have access to the teachings in other forms, meaning like online courses or access to me in a personal coaching situation. I will be back soon with more. Until then, be proactive about your mental health. Be well, and God bless.